that was what was taught to me. Like when I first started, like really trying to because I was in the bodybuilding world, and I was not healthy. I was eating 1,800 calories a day. I was eating cold tilapia, like terrible.
What's up, guys? I'm here to tell you this episode is brought to you by Crowd Health. Crowd Health is a new, fast-growing, tech-enabled, well-capitalized, community-powered alternative to traditional health insurance. Founded by Andy Schoonover, a proven founder and entrepreneur with a successful track record, including a $100 million plus exit. By the way, Andy's been on this podcast in the past. Crowd Health uses the power of crowdfunding, member ratings, unlimited choice, and huge cash pay discounts to provide a simple, considerably less expensive solution to managing your medical bills. Crowd Health gives you full agency and sticks with you no matter where you move or what jobs you take on. You've heard of Big Pharma, but you may not know Big Insurance is actually the man behind the curtain. With 12 of the last 15 heads of the FDA taking jobs in Big Pharma and 64% of its funding coming from private industry, don't hold your breath waiting for the government to save the day. It's safe to say our system's broken. It's time to take your well-being into your own hands, and Crowd Health helps you do just that. You'll pay into your individual account monthly, and if you ever want to leave, you'll simply pay a $250 closing fee, and they will return the entire balance in your account to you because it's your account. Because it's crowdfunded, we all have a vested interest in each other's health. They even cover up to $300 a year in routine wellness visits. So far, for every $100 members have paid into their accounts, an average of only $30 has been paid out. So you can expect to see your money grow in your account over time. Take that, Big Insurance. Join today by visiting joincrowdhealth.com and using the promo code KLP to pay only $99 a month for the first 3 months. That's joincrowdhealth.com, promo code KLP. Joincrowdhealth.com. Get you some.
I'll tell you, I get to that mood when I'm like, I just wish I had like a corporate job. And then I remember what my corporate job was like, and I'm like,
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Yeah, I don't recommend it.
No, it's not
I don't
something
recommend
that I can go back to.
Unless it's like what you want to do, if that's what you'd like to do. I mean, look, there's lots of people that's what they want to do. That's what they've always done. It's what they want to do. I mean, I don't know, maybe 85% of people, So that's what they should do. It's fine.
Is it what they want to do, or is it what they can do? I mean, I think that's the difference there.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people are stuck.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, all right, well, I'm making money and I just keep going.
Mm-hmm. 100%.
Yeah.
There's I saw a stat, and by the way, we're recording everything, right, Colby?
We're good to go.
So we're good. I saw a stat recently that there's 4 million Americans that would change jobs, but they can't for health insurance reasons alone.
Mm-hmm.
So that's only related to health insurance. There's 4 million of us out there that can't change jobs because of health insurance. That's just one little factor.
Yeah.
Like to your point, how about doing a job they like, So, no, I think you're probably right.
I mean,
probably most do stick with it because they feel like they have to.
I always feel like I'm super lucky because for the last 15 years, and I've told my clients this, I'm like, listen, you pay me to do this, so just ask questions.
Okay.
Try to wear me out. No one's done it in 15 years because I literally can talk about this all day. I love it. And I'm blessed to get to do this.
Yeah.
But the health insurance thing, my wife has a job for health insurance.
Oh, dude, we got a hookup for you, bro. She doesn't have to have that job anymore.
Yeah.
Seriously, it's called Crowd Health.
Crowd Health.
Yeah, it's joincrowdhealth.com. Dude, I have spent a lot of time looking into these guys because I'm looking at it for more reasons than just myself. But, one of the reasons is that I'm involved with an organization that is spending health insurance costs are out of control. Mm-hmm. I mean, just it's gotten crazy, and it makes sense that it's getting crazy when you think about they want to make as much money as possible. The American people keep getting sicker and sicker. So what do you think is going to happen? Healthcare costs are going to go way up. I mean, this is something we've been talking about for years, but it's happening. It's happening in front of our eyes right now. So I found these guys. He was actually on my podcast when in Austin, Texas. He's the only guy that's been on the podcast that sold a company for over $100 million. Jeez. So he's had a good run. And so he's a proven founder, and he took his daughter in to get an ear infection fixed one time, and they had to put like a tube in her ear, and it was like a last-minute surgery. The doctor pushed his vacation day back a day to get the surgery done in his daughter's ear. It was $12,000, and the insurance company said, you know what, that wasn't necessary procedure. We're not going to cover it. So he was fine. He can easily afford the $12,000 thing in his daughter's ear. No biggie, but it pissed him off. Yeah. And so now he started a company called Crowd Health. The URL is Join Crowd Health, and they're a sponsor on this podcast. Oh, nice. And what it is it's not health insurance. It's crowdfunded healthcare. So you have your own account that you put money into, and if I have my account, and if you get sick, I can elect to fund your medical bills. Okay. And if I don't have to. If I don't, then no one's going to fund mine. So you want to fund, when a need comes through, you fund it. But they're running currently, their average age is like 33 years old, and people are spending only 30% of what they're putting into their fund. And if you ever leave, you pay a $250 closing fee, and you take your money with you. Really? Yeah. Okay. So I sent it to a couple of buddies. I have a couple buddies on a thing called Christian Healthcare Ministries, and that's another like quote unquote crowdfunded, but you have to be a Christian and you have other certain stipulations to fit into it. But the thing that scares me about some of those is they have a limit on what they will pay. So it's I don't mind having like a high deductible, like I don't need insurance to go cover my PT if they don't want to. I'm fine with, covering some stuff that I can on my own. But I would want to know, like, if poop really hits the fan and I have a $500,000 bill, you're not going to cut off at $125,000. That does me no good. You know what I mean? So these guys have no cap. Okay. No cap. You get your money back when you leave if you ever choose to leave. And it's a lot of healthy people getting together. And it's a lot of like, they have companies on it too, but it's a lot of self-employed people. Yeah. Because that is a problem with being self-employed it's a problem to get health insurance. Yeah. We're just going to wait until the kid's born first. And then I'll look into this. Yeah. Because, I looked at some of the bills, what they would have been, like for Cora, for my daughter, and $25,000 a day. Good grief. Like, was there complications? No, minimal. She was in NICU for 2 days, but like I'm just talking the birth. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Yeah, but see, here's the thing to keep in mind, though. If you were cash pay, it wouldn't have been $25,000. No. Not even close. On their... Such a racket. Oh, it's such a racket, dude. On their bills over $1,000, they're saving 72% by doing cash pay. It's absurd. So, like, prescriptions, it's gotten to the point where, first of all, 1 in 5 Americans are now can't afford their prescriptions. Yeah. Like, the whole thing's just gotten out of control. So you've been doing your own thing for 15 years then? So you haven't had like a real job in 15 years? I've been in and out of a couple different things. I've always done nutrition. Okay. But I mean, I owned my own nutrition store for a little while, about 7 years. I've owned a couple different companies, got rid of those companies, started some other ones. So I'm part of 3 right now. Okay. Yeah, 3 or I guess you can count 4. So nutrition, Trivium, you're still involved with Trivium? Yeah. Okay. Masters Fitness Championship. Okay. Which is the largest masters competition in the world. We talked about this a little bit the last time, didn't we? It was just starting. Yeah. So we've grown. We went from having 130 people to last year we had 550 plus. Masters, like 30 plus. Yeah. I thought Masters started at 40. No, not for us. Okay. We opened up 30 to 34. 35 to 39 is actually an age. Okay. In CrossFit. Yep. Yeah. Yep. So is this part of the CrossFit Games, or is this a totally separate sort of So initially, what we started it for was supposed to be a media company. We started
traveling around, and we were going to cover the games for the Masters because no one covers them. No one gives a crap about Masters or adaptive or any of that stuff. So it would have been just families watching, but they actually get to see it, which is nice. I mean, there's some really fit people that are at the games, and our buddy was one of them, one of the other owners of MFC. So we were going to put that together, and then COVID hit, and they canceled the games for the Masters. So we were like, you know what? We'll put it on in Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Oh.
So we did it. We had about 130 people come and compete, and the champion was crowned, and and then it just grew from there.
So does it have its own season, or is it like one event a year? What's the
one event a year?
What's the
it's at
structure?
The end of the year, so it's usually in September, October timeframe.
Okay.
We have a qualifier in June. People who make the games get invites. But
okay,
if they don't show up, we're still having a good time.
Yeah,
We should have 600 plus people this year.
No way.
Yeah.
Are you making money on it because you charge people to come compete, or through sponsorships, or is it just you're just doing this for
Bit of
fun?
everything.
Okay.
So we have the qualifier, which our goal is about 4,000 to 5,000 people at $30 a pop. So if we can get that, then that's great. Then we can have payouts at the event. It's wonderful. Like, people are getting masters who don't normally get paid for anything. Are getting paid. Then we have sponsors. Like Rogue is a big sponsor. Yeti is a big sponsor. We pretty much just kind of like set up Vendor Village. So we have the sponsorships, then we have vendors, and then we have the people paying to come. So it's just it's profitable at this point.
Sweet.
Yeah.
What's it called again?
Masters Fitness Championship.
Masters Fitness Championship, and people can go to that website and get more information if they want to go watch or if they want to go compete.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Instagram, MFC.
Okay.
So.
Somehow this fell back off my radar after our last talk.
It's okay.
Do you compete also?
I'm not allowed.
That makes sense.
The owners aren't. We
sure, you can't go and win it.
Well, we have two of the guys that are owners went to the games already. So that's just really not that fair.
Okay.
So we keep them off on the shelf.
Yeah.
And then every time I do a qualifier I did one of our qualifiers, I was like one of the top guys there. And then I would get hurt or something. Like, I feel like that's like the story of my CrossFit career. You do really well and then you're hurt. So
yeah, that's the story of my CrossFit non-competitive lifestyle career.
Yeah.
Go about 3 to 6 months and get hurt. And fix back
really
up for
good.
2 to 3 months and then go back again, start feeling really good and get hurt. And I know that's a knock on CrossFit, but I also know injuries happen with pretty much whatever you're playing. Tennis, obviously football, soccer.
Well, soccer has more head injuries than football.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. A lot more concussions.
More concussions.
Yeah.
Wow. That surprises me.
Yeah.
I know they're making football safer, but
well, it's still football. The athletes are getting bigger and faster and stronger. But when you look at it, you're looking at soccer. There's so many people that play, and they're hitting the ball with their heads. They're going up with their heads, hitting other people's heads.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. But people get injured from running.
Oh yeah.
Heck, my brother threw his back out recently getting out of bed. So it's like I don't. The whole thing of CrossFit's bad. You can't do it, or you shouldn't do it because you're just going to be injured all the time. I don't buy it. And I've gotten injured. I've gotten injured a lot. My little left elbow hurts a little bit right now. I'm coming back from the last good workout I had was on December 30th.
Okay.
I missed most of January and now half of February. But it's a recurring lower back injury. I think I have what appears to be a bulged disc, and it was in a really good spot. And I kind of know what I can do and can't do. And I crossed a line, and now I know I can't do that either. So I'm learning. Right. There's a few things I know I can't do, and now there's one more that I know. But I would, in a flash, I would take having the injuries, working through injuries, trying to continue to learn what your body can and cannot do, but feel the way I feel doing CrossFit 4 or 5 days a week. I would not trade that, because it's like you got to pick your poison, right? Like if you don't do CrossFit, you got to do something.
Yeah.
Because if you don't do anything, you're going to have a lot bigger issues and some injuries.
Oh yeah.
You know?
I mean, I started at 30. So I attribute a lot of my injuries to bodybuilding and football and not stretching. I mean, the best mobility stretch that we did in college for football was right over left down. Like, that's it. Do it. There was no like hip opening. There was no glute activation. There was none of this stuff that I've learned from CrossFit actually in football.
Oh, that surprises me. Yeah. Surely that's changed now, right? I
mean, it's hard to say. The strength coaches, it just depends. So like I was over at BA yesterday talking to their assistant strength coach because I've known him for a while, and he wanted to talk to me about nutrition for the team and things like that. And like he knows what he's doing. Like he builds it out, and they have those units at each station where they can film the movement, so they know exactly how fast your bar path is. I mean, it's phenomenal technology. It's really wonderful. It's like a Tendo unit, but it's all video.
Okay.
So he can be in a room of 50 kids and see them, all of them moving at the same time.
Because of the video camera.
Tech. And it'll flash green or red. If it's red, it's underneath the limit he set, and they need to drop the weight.
I see.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It really is.
You think that'll work its way into CrossFit eventually?
No.
Okay.
No, CrossFit's expensive as it is.
Yeah.
People complain about all that stuff all the time.
Yeah.
You know, so would it benefit people? Sure, but you know, from what he told me it costs, no gym's going to pay for that.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. And plus, having 50 people in a class, most gyms I don't think are that big.
No, I mean, we cap our classes at 15.
Okay.
And you know, we have 8 classes a day with open gym all day long.
Okay.
So it's 50 people would be. I mean, I think the most I've done is like 30.
Okay.
And that's too much for one coach.
Yep.
No matter how good you are at coaching.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Sure. Do you still coach?
I fill in.
Okay.
Occasionally, we have a head coach now. We hired a head coach and gym manager. He's wonderful. It's Nicole Burke, her husband Matt Burke.
Okay.
They're down at Proven. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
And he is still with Proven, but he's your head coach, or he left Proven to be your head coach?
No, he's still with Proven, and he's our head coach and gym manager, so he handles everything.
Oh, cool.
So Nate and I just we have jobs, so
okay.
we have to go do those things, and then I'll fill in. I miss coaching. I love coaching.
Okay.
And I think our members miss me coaching the classes that I was coaching, but you know, I'll fill in when I can.
Okay.
And there's other people that need to coach more.
Yeah.
Whether they need to pay bills or whatever. So.
Yep. One guy I met recently at church, I think, is a coach at Trivium. His name is Jordan Leffel.
Yeah.
Do you know if he's a coach?
Yes.
Okay. Maybe he started coaching a few months ago.
He's an assistant coach for us.
Okay. That makes sense. Yeah. Real nice guy. We've been meaning to do a workout together. We still haven't gotten that done.
Welcome to come over. It's just down the road.
I know. It's super close to here. Yes. You know what? I should drop in on a class that he's coaching sometime. That'd be fun.
I think it's Tuesday afternoons, like 4, 5, and 6.
Okay.
Yeah.
I could do that. I could do one of those. Do maybe 5 or 6. Yeah.
Let me know. I'll reserve a time for you.
Sweet, man. I might take you up on that. Once give me another couple weeks to get the back
right.
together again.
Right. We do a lot of lifting, so you know.
Do you really in general with programming at Trivium?
So Will Morad does our programming. So he's
no way.
Yeah.
Will Morad does your programming.
Yeah.
I knew he trained there, but I didn't know he did your programming.
Yeah, he's been doing our program for the past 4 years.
Really? Huh. Yeah. And he is training for the games again this year, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
That dude is a machine. He's so analytical too. So like I geek out with him on his nutrition because I do his nutrition. So we get like really precise. And then we kind of dove into it even deeper with blood work because what he's starting to, I introduced him to Wild Health. So like Julie Foucher's team, Dr. Tom, all those guys, great organization, really enjoy working with them and kind of getting all that data.
Mm-hmm.
And he loves data. And he's just, I swear it's going to probably, I would say it's going to be his best year if he stays healthy.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. How old is he?
32.
Okay, so he's still in that bracket.
Yeah.
And then at the games, it changes again. It changes at 35. You said, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So he has a couple.
Rich
years.
is a masters athlete now
because he's
35.
Yeah.
And now he'll compete wherever he wants to because he's rich. But
yeah,
he could go 35 to 39 and start smashing people.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. But are you saying that he can compete with the non-masters if he wants to, like in the regular bracket?
Yeah, if he makes.
So that's a personal choice.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So he
I
can
didn't
do
know
both.
that.
Like Sam Briggs did both.
Mm-hmm.
What's her name? Rebecca Voigt. She's just done both.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that his plan? Do you know?
I have no idea.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't talk to him much. I talk to Rory on occasion, but
okay.
Yeah, he keeps everything pretty close to the vest.
Yep. Did you guys bump into any issue or financial challenges, I guess, basically during COVID? Like, was there any scary moments there, or were you guys okay?
You know, we had a plan going into it, so we started tapering our classes down, blocking out squares for everybody and making sure everything was good. And then Williamson County is just different than Davidson County.
You know what? I always forget that.
Yeah.
You're Williamson County, aren't you? Because you're barely Williamson County.
We have 5. No, we're right in the Brentwood. We're right off Wilson Pike Circle. So we're like right in the heart of Brentwood.
Yeah, but I mean, I just mean you're just on the other side of Davidson County, really.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Yeah. You're
So
not far into
Old
Williamson
Hickory's
County.
that line.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we were only shut down for 5 weeks.
Okay.
And then we just backtracked the plan. So we started out with 6 people, started out 8.
Okay.
We added more classes. And then all of a sudden it was like nothing ever happened.
Okay. Yeah. Did you have a lot of members drop their membership during that time, or?
No, we doubled our membership.
After. Wow.
Yeah.
Do you, attributable to people realize what happened? They realize it's good to be healthy to withstand something like this, and then what would you attribute that to?
I would think I think we handled things, and I don't want to say better than other gyms, but we had a better plan.
Okay.
So we had a plan going in. We were totally vocal with our community about that plan, and we took care of everyone. I don't like being on camera. And I filmed so many videos about movement, about all that stuff, and we were just getting people out there, getting people working. I did a chopped, like my wife picked out like 5 ingredients, tossed them in a bucket, and I had to make a meal out of it.
Okay.
And we filmed it. I mean, we just did everything to kind of try to entertain people.
Yeah.
And keep them like moving.
Yep.
So, you know, and then 5 weeks of that, and then we were right back into it.
I don't remember how long our gym was shut down. I do remember it was long enough where Evan let people take some equipment home.
Yeah.
I took a ski erg and some weights.
Yeah. We did that.
And that was a great idea.
Yeah.
I mean, that's wherever that idea came from, it's brilliant because you have the equipment anyway, and you can trust your members, and it's not being used at the gym.
Most of them.
Yeah. Did you have some trouble with some stuff coming back?
Yeah, I mean, stuff disappears all the time. Like, I don't know how it disappears. Like the big rollers will disappear. Kettlebell. Like, how do you walk out with a 53-pound kettlebell? I have no idea.
No kidding.
Like a barbell will disappear every once in a while, and you're just like, where'd that go? Like, how did that happen? We have cameras too, and you just yeah.
It's probably not worth sitting there for a day and a half.
Really not.
To try to find a 53-pound kettlebell.
It's really not.
A 10-year-old 53-pound kettlebell or 5 years old. Now you guys have built a great brand. You're in Nashville. So it seems like things are going well, but you might be a little bit of the exception. Is owning CrossFit gyms in general profitable?
Nate and I don't really take a lot out of the gym right now. We have taken on more. So we took over the building next to us, and we have a wellness center now. So we have a center that has PT, has massage, has chiropractic, has nutrition. We built out a recovery room with sauna and ice tub.
Oh wow!
Like we're all in on our community, and that's the key for us. And I think that's what they see. Like, we had to raise prices this year because, I mean, our prices tripled. Like we were looking at our electricity was $8,000. It was like $8,000 2 years ago. Last year was 21,000.
Ooh, for the year? Wow.
So, and we were transparent with everybody about it. It wasn't, we weren't like, hey, this is a money grab. This was like, hey, we're going to try to maximize value for you. So we just bumped it up a little bit, and then we added in so we do yoga. We have one of the, probably the best yoga teacher in the Southeast. She's from Steadfast and True Yoga in East Nashville. Her name's Jillian Sinclair.
Okay.
Yeah. She's fantastic.
Okay.
Yeah. So she teaches yoga twice a week. So the all-in people get yoga, they get the recovery room, they get everything.
So you have a bracket of membership that includes the working out at the CrossFit gym like usual, but then also everything in the wellness room? Everything?
Well, not PT and massage and chiro, but the recovery.
Oh, wow.
So you can just book it and use it.
And then you also have a level where you can just come to be a gym member and not have access to that other stuff?
You have we do have 24-hour access as well. So we through hybrid, they have 24-hour access. So open gym members can get 24-hour access. Our unlimited members have 24-hour access.
Wow.
Yeah.
You have any issues with the 24-hour thing? Is that where the kettlebells are leaving?
People not putting stuff back is the worst, or making a mess and leaving it.
Okay.
No, if they were disappearing at those times, we would be able to
That's true.
pinpoint it. But it's randomly throughout the day. You're like, how the hell did that? How did you walk out with that?
Yeah.
But
do you lease your space, or do you own? Okay. Yeah. So you have that just a sort of that's a risk level at some point when the lease gets to running out.
So we have a good relationship with our landlord. So
okay.
I think we have another 3 years on it, and then we'll figure out what's next.
Okay.
We'll probably figure out what's next year, but
sure. Yeah. Sweet. All right. Red meat. Let's jump in.
Diving right in.
Let's dive right in. Would you consider red meat an inflammatory food?
I mean, I think you have to look at everything as on an individual level. So there are some people that it is inflammatory to them, but the risks that are involved with red meat. There was a new study that just came out about from University of Washington that said it's they level risk by 0 to 15, and it's in 0 to 15% more that you may get something from unprocessed meat, but processing the meat, and that'll actually do more to it. So if you're just getting meat from steaks from a farm, it's negligible. I mean, walk outside and you have a chance of getting cancer. I mean,
yep.
Yeah. You mentioned Bill Gates. Oh man, I really can't stress enough that if you look like that, you shouldn't be given nutritional advice.
Yeah. What is up with that? Because I heard this in the last year, someone mentioned this. So I just, out of curiosity, I went on the Google and looked to see what I could find. And my goodness, Bill Gates is really not aging that well.
No, he looks rough.
He looks really rough. And what is interesting is that he was either so involved or so vocal in the vaccine. I remember that.
Well, he has money behind all of it.
That's probably why, right?
Yeah, 100%. Okay. He has money behind that. He has money behind he's the largest producer of the fake meat, Beyond Meat or whatever people are deciding to call it. So, I mean, the motivation right there is, it's questionable.
Yeah. I had I texted someone before this to get the scoop on this because I didn't take the time to look it up. But I remember having some discussions with someone about it was either Big Pharma or Big Tech or Bill Gates, which I guess, that's kind of all
the same
mixed together. But one or all of them, though, buying up seed companies with the idea that they can kind of control the whole thing, from soup to nuts, so to speak. Like if you can't get seeds, you're kind of screwed. So I don't know if it was going to be to the extent where you and I can't go buy seeds, or if it's more to the extent of a big farmer who's on his own is going to have trouble buying seeds. But it seems like the food production to me seems like it's getting a lot of attention from big money, which is
worrisome.
It's worrisome.
Yeah.
It's worrisome just because if you think about Bill Gates, who's making business decisions behind the big money that's related to food production, but he doesn't seem to have a personal understanding of food and its relationship with health and the human body, but you're the one that's making the decisions. Mm-hmm. That to me seems like getting into fake food is coming from an area that is maybe not so much a personal passion, but maybe more strictly money driven. And that is scary. I mean, come on, let's be honest.
Well, like, I mean, I'm not with COVID and everything that's happened in the last couple of years. My wife and I are on the more skeptical side of things. You know, how everything, dissemination of information, how things are coming out. I trust no one in power at this point who has their hand on anything that comes down to us. Mm-hmm. You know, so when it comes down to like meat or like the eggs right now, like eggs tripled in price. Like,
yeah, they did. And it's like $8-9 a dozen now.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden you have farmers saying like the feed that they were getting was causing their hens not to lay eggs.
Oh, like, goodness.
Because so you're talking about seeds and feed, right? They're buying that stuff up, taking control of it, and all of a sudden the stuff that farmers are buying is causing slow production of eggs.
The feed for the chickens?
Yeah.
You're saying that there's farmers out there right now buying chicken feed, and the feed is causing their chickens to not lay as many eggs?
That's the word that I've heard and
wow,
read.
That's crazy.
So I mean, the aspect of control is confusing to me, because I think that the people just want their thumb on us.
Yeah,
the people in charge, and it's frustrating as a small business owner. Like, it doesn't matter how much money I make at this point. It's just like, how much am I giving back to the government? Yeah. How much does food cost? Like with 2 kids, like,
how about 5, bro? 5 kids.
You have 5?
I have 5 kids over here. Yeah, they're hungry.
Keep it in your pants, man. I didn't keep you away from my wife.
I'm not gonna. There's not gonna be any more. There's not gonna be any more kids in the Lapp household.
Man,
God willing. I've done what I can do on that front, so it should end at 5. But still, it costs a lot to feed those faces.
It costs a lot to feed me alone.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I mean, the amount of food that I eat. So it's like, all right, you add 3 other people to that. Mm-hmm. All of a sudden, every time I go to the grocery store, it's like $300.
Yeah, no doubt. Colby, can you pull up that Instagram video? Is that something you can play on here?
Yeah.
Can you? Okay, so this is the one about Bill Gates. Well, that one too. We can come back to that one, but pull the one up about Bill Gates, because it is a little chilling. I think, can you go to, it's like the last slide on here, and there's a video. Oh, by the way, this is the meat mafia that I just stumbled upon. All right. Can we get volume on that?
Volume 20.
He's going to start talking to him.
Volume 25.
No, is your laptop on mute?
I might have to.
Yeah, it's on
it's right
the
here.
bottom right. Yeah.
And so I've been on this learning curve, and that's the whole reason I started this with
You mean to start over?
Turn it up. Can you turn it up? Yeah, start it over. Although we're not going to be able to hear that.
It might not start over.
although the artificial meat companies I put money into, I'm going to take more from those than I've lost in the other ones. But
All right, that's it. So what he's saying there, he's talking about some green startup that he was doing.
Yeah.
He did it not intending to make money. He did it for reasons of passion. And then he made a joke about that's working out. He's not making money on it.
Yeah.
And then he goes right into saying all his fake meat companies are going to make up all of that money and more.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's a joke. I get it, but you can tell he believes it.
Oh yeah.
So
Did we miss the fact that he said he had a nuclear power company?
No, I didn't know that.
That's
actually.
what he just said.
Oh, is that what he just said?
That stresses me out even more. It's like Dr. Evil. Like, what the heck? Is there gonna be sharks with lasers on their heads?
Wow. But
that's wild.
But I think the focus does seem to be on the money aspect of it, which I had someone on here recently, I think it was Rick Haley, who said, you know, he sees the downfall of the 2 biggest issues he sees with America right now is the woke, what seems to be the disease almost, and but the woke culture and greed. Mm-hmm. Which, I'm not going to say that Bill Gates is greedy, but he intends to make a lot of money. And
it sounds greedy. I don't know.
Yeah,
How much
guess,
money do you need? Like,
potato.
I mean, what's the end game? I would love to understand what the end game is. Like, how much money do you need? He's like 70.
Yeah, he's up there.
I mean,
yeah.
Is he hoping that science keeps him alive forever? I mean,
yeah.
The way he's looking, he's not going to make it very long.
No, yeah, I wouldn't disagree with that.
And we're taking advice on health.
Yeah, we are.
From this guy.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting. And he was pretty vocal about the vaccines pretty early on too, which, we don't need to get into that because that's a whole thing of its own. Yeah. But I did want to shout out to the Meat Mafia guys because I just found those guys recently on Instagram. There's a podcast. They're out of Austin, Texas.
That's Mafia. Where I would expect them to be out of.
I know.
Be out of Texas.
Yeah, totally. Yep. I think Bastrop to be specific. Yeah. But so yeah, people should go follow that. But back to the red meat. So, in 2021, at some point, I watched this documentary called Fat Fiction. Have you ever heard of it?
I haven't seen that one.
Or seen it? It's really good. I've watched it twice now, and I was going to watch it a third time before tonight, but I didn't get it done. But it talks about was it the 50s and 60s, this kind of craze that was instigated by this guy named Ansel Keys, that he was kind of had this agenda to position trans fat as being dangerous and get people over to saturated fat, and then get people over to what was it? It was more low. Hold on, because I don't want to screw this up. He's moving people over from saturated fats over to, basically it was like the fake stuff, like margarine, like his what's the term for that? Doggone it. Low fat, high carb. Oh, yeah, that's exactly what it was. Yeah. He was basically promoting a low fat, high carb diet, but it was like trans fats, right? Is that what it is? Trans when fats. You have like fake stuff, like margarine instead of butter. I grew up eating that. Country Crock. It was in the
brown container.
Yeah, brown container. Yep. It was margarine.
Oh, I grew up in diet culture, so like my mom was always on a diet. We had diet soda everywhere. Everything was. We're Italian and Irish, so
okay.
Like, food's good. I'm a big fan of food.
Yeah.
But like everything was diet, low fat. All that stuff. So, yeah,
really?
I grew up in that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I did not grow up that way. My mom made a lot of food, but we bought a lot of food too. But I remember the sodas and just all that stuff. But anyhow, this documentary kind of details how that's not working out so well.
Yeah.
To be eating all these trans fats and sugars. And it was sort of positioning meat and saturated fats, which maybe you can talk about what saturated fats are, where they come from, but it was positioning all of that as like bad for your heart. Mm-hmm. And then this was when the manufacturing food was becoming popular, like Cheerios and these types of manufactured foods, low fat, everything, they were sticking low fat on everything, and people were buying it and eating it thinking it was healthy. And now it's causing all these problems. And one of the things that the Fat Fiction documentary is pointing out is that there's some misconceptions in this area. And so I wanted to ask about red meat being inflammatory, and I don't even know exactly what that means, but I have, if I eat whatever I want to eat and don't care at all, I just feel disgusting. Mm-hmm. Like my gut's not it's not like a metal tank in there. Like it's something else. Like if I eat what I would think of as inflammatory foods, I feel it, dude. My spine, my neck, my bones will feel like they're eating themselves, literally.
Yeah.
And so a few times now, most recently being January the 11th, I started eating carnivore again. And if I go 1 week eating only carnivore, all that's gone.
Yeah.
Like it's completely gone. I feel great. My skin clears up. If I have any sort of sore or anything on my skin, it clears up. My gut feels great. My poop stabilize. But that's just been my experience. And I was talking to someone recently about this, and they made the comment like, well, isn't red meat inflammatory? And I was like, it'd been a while since I've heard that, and it kind of caught me off guard because I've not experienced it as inflammatory at all. So is it for some people, or?
I mean, it can be. Like, I won't ever say that it's impossible because everyone's so different. There's people that have, you remember people who got bitten by the tick and they got alpha gal.
Yes.
So those people, it is inflammatory towards, and it causes a lot of health issues. But like outside of that, it's hard for me to be like, yes. You know, I can't really say no, but I can't say yes. So
what is considered, what's the definition of an inflammatory food?
Anything that can cause bloating or stress in the system, or like, so you're saying you feels like your bones are eating themselves. It injects like essentially toxins in between those, and it's like just a bunch of grit. So like when your joints pop, you know, and it kind of hurts, like that's just a bunch of like inflammation that's in there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So inflammatory foods will cause inflammation in your body,
Yes.
essentially, which is like a buildup.
Biome. I mean, a lot of people talk about things like candida and things like that, but that's from an overgrowth of utilization of carbohydrates, processed carbohydrates. That's what the stomach feeds off of. And candida grows off of that. So like things like that can cause, you know, there's a lot of things that can cause inflammation.
Yeah.
Like I can't eat gluten.
Okay.
Because it causes all sorts of bad things in my body.
Yep.
Digestive issues, pooping issues, you know. So like I don't want any part of that. So I stay away from it.
And where is that mostly found? Gluten, breads, pasta?
Processed foods. I mean, processed breads, things like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Wheat gluten it's a filler proteinish thing, concept.
But when you say processed foods, there's not gluten in, like, if you were to buy, I don't know why I'm thinking of this, but I'm thinking of like wafer cookies or like butter cookies, or like, is there gluten in that stuff too?
Yeah.
Or
unless it says gluten free, it's made in a factory that has wheat, or there's wheat in it, or any of that. So
I wonder if that would explain.
It's in lunch meat.
There's gluten in lunch meat?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it's filler, man.
Oh, I didn't. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I always think of bread and pasta with gluten.
I mean, it's definitely in those things, but there's also, so I've been eating, this company called Bonza makes these pizzas, and I love some pizza, but they make these pizza crusts, and it's gluten free, and it's literally the best crust I've ever eaten. Yeah.
You buy the pizza crust frozen, and then you make your own pizza, or it's okay.
They have pizzas that are made.
Okay.
But I prefer to control that.
You can buy the crust and make your own pizza, and that's what you do?
Yeah.
And this is available at Kroger?
Kroger.
Yeah. I'll have to check that out. And you feel good on it, because I will feel gross if I eat pizza.
Yeah. No, I don't like anything that has gluten in it. Like I'll go to Blaze and I'll get like their gluten-free crust.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think the thing that is, well, here's what I would not want to happen is it seems like there is a real sort of concerted effort at limiting intake of red meat for reasons of climate damage or climate, what's the term? Climate
change.
Climate change. And if the meat production is a significant driver in climate change, I would just want us to make real sure that science is right. I saw an article that said that all meat production is only 2%, is only a 2% factor of climate change. And you have transportation, these other things that are like 48, massive things. So if we're going to make changes in eating, bison, beef, whatever, for reasons of climate change, we just want to make real sure on that.
Yeah.
But it's starting to feel like there's a little bit of an agenda there. And
there's always an agenda.
It seems like
it comes across as. I mean, if you look at like the vegetarian and vegan foods and the meatless stuff, they are tearing up the earth. They're killing any sort of animal that is in that ground. On the way to plowing these fields, they're killing, any sort of moles. They're killing. I mean, there's a circle of life that comes along, and those moles are necessary for other things to live. And the bugs that are getting killed they're fed on by something. I mean, so anytime you're talking about like climate change, like I feel like that would be way more impactful, doing that and creating fake meat from the ground. I mean,
that's how I feel too.
Yeah.
Like just like a quick sniff test. You would think to make fake food, you have to plant it, grow it, put it in under light sometimes, then you need to make sure the bugs don't eat it. So now you're spraying and stuff is going into the ground and you're harvesting.
How much processing do you have to do to make it look like?
Oh, that stuff must be. Stuff must be so processed.
You're telling me that is better for you than a steak straight off a cow.
That's what they're saying. That's what they're saying.
The science doesn't back it.
I would think I would be highly, highly suspect of it.
Any sort of nutritional studies that go on that they usually have some sort of backing, like,
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so like when you have Bill Gates is backing, like What the Health or something like that, And I was watching that, I was like, this is embarrassing to actually watch, because people are gonna believe this. They're gonna believe that meat is bad for you. They're gonna believe that processed foods are good for you. I feel like they're trying to. If you take away protein, that's the building block for muscle. That's they're taking away people's ability to build muscle and stand up for themselves, essentially. I mean, how do you want to control people?
That would be a good way to do it.
Make them weak. Make them weak and sick.
Yeah. Jordan Peterson, I just heard him say something recently about this, which is that you have about 1% to 4% of the population is a psychopath. And so you have these psychopathic leaders that just are abusing their positions of power. And what you need when that happens is you need powerful men who are not psychopaths that are willing to stand up to them and basically, fight back against that. So, if you have power and you can keep that from happening, then you can keep the power.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you think about it. I love Jordan Peterson. I think that the way he looks at life is so real. It's not like trying to make anyone feel better about themselves. It's like, hey, this is real life. Like, it's gonna suck. How are you gonna handle it?
Yeah.
You know? And he's like, all right, so like a good man should be a dangerous man. And people are like, oh, dangerous means like they're gonna be like causing anarchy. No, a dangerous man is someone that can sheath the sword and control that danger, all right, and still be a good member of society and still be a good person. Like, those are the things. I listen to this man. I'm like, this is just so logical. Everything he's saying is so logical. Like, I could literally, like, if he was only American, he could run for president. And I would vote for him.
I 100% agree. 100% agree.
I mean, it's just so much logic.
Well, the one thing that Jordan Peterson is so big on is telling the truth, even when it's painful.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, why his message is resonating so much, is because he's telling a lot of truth.
Yeah.
And there's something about truth that, like, eventually it's going to win. You might be able to snuff it out for 5 or 10 years, but eventually you can't.
4 to 8.
4 to 8 years, yeah. But you can't keep it. You can't keep it down. It's like love. It's like ultimately they're going to win. And it seems to me that's in part why Jordan Peterson is so popular right now, is because he's saying a lot of truth. He's saying a lot of true things that are not popular right now.
And it's needed. I think people need to hear these things. They need to hear it on repeat, because they're hearing so many other things that aren't true, that are just like, oh, it's okay. You'll be fine. Just trust us. Man, I the only people I trust is my wife. All right?
Yeah.
And outside of that, I just kind of like, all right, I kind of trust you, but not really.
Yeah.
So
yeah, same.
Yeah, I mean it's just, and that's just, it's a cynical way to look at things, but it's a realist way to look at things too.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I was going to say it's realistic.
Yeah.
Maybe it's cynical, but it's also realistic.
Yeah.
But that is what is concerning to me about the push against, what I'm seeing is a lot of push against the meat. It's coming from, it's almost like first we tried to go the heart attack and blood clotting route, and then when that didn't work, now we're trying the climate change route. And look, we don't have a very good track record at all in this country of making decisions that are good for our health. I mean, 12 of the
Smoking used to be really good.
Smoking used to be great. Yeah. I mean, it was like it was absolutely promoted.
Yeah. Kobe, can you pull up like the world health leaders, like pictures of them? And these are the people that we're supposed to trust.
Oh,
have you seen these?
No, I haven't.
Oh my gosh!
Just what should he Google?
World health leaders. Let's see if that pops anything up. Oh man, where are they? Like,
who are the world health leaders? Like, you're not talking
like the
not
British
the CDC.
There's the British. She's like, I mean, she's got to be like
300 pounds.
Yeah, she's either British or Swedish or something. I just can't remember. Like, I just remember seeing a picture of, like, it was like 3 or 4 of the leaders of the world. Bill Gates was on there, and you're just like, how are these people the ones that are dictating what's healthy?
Sure. Well, that's a good question.
Yeah. I have to.
Colby, I don't want to tell you how to do your job, but I would say try putting in obese world health leaders and see what pops up.
That might work.
Seriously, put that in there and see what happens.
Obese, health minister. That's
Health minister?
I think that's what. Oh, there you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's one at least.
There's one on the right there.
Super healthy.
Like, seriously, she's like, how?
Yeah, that's a good question. That
Because
actually, when you really stop and think about it, hold on a second. We're actually saying she's a leader in health.
She disseminates information to her people.
That is actually, if you stop for just a second and think about that.
Man, I think about it all day. Like the shit that I see
I guess
out there.
This is the space you're in, isn't it?
Yeah. The things I see out there on the internet are just baffling to me. Like, I've been on it this week. I've been kind of salty a little bit this week.
Okay.
But, like, I'm seeing things from influencers that I'm like, why would you tell people to even do that? Like, fitness move. All right, I'm going to do a lunge into a step up on a chair into a kickback pike. I'm just like,
yeah.
Dude, people barely get off the couch, and you want them to do what? Like, get them to walk. I know it's not flashy. I get it.
Yeah.
But, like, people need to start slow and work their way into not being lazy.
Yep.
You know, I mean, and I'm a big believer in discipline over motivation. You know, I mean, you listen to anything by Jocko, you listen to anything. I mean, Andrew Tate's an asshole, but, like, he's got the right mindset to succeed. I mean,
is he into discipline over motivation?
Yeah,
Andrew Tate,
100%. Okay, yeah. So, like, little things like I can take a little bit of that from him. I mean, he's really terrible. Yeah. Otherwise, but I mean, things like that. I mean, that there's reasons why he's successful at what he does, whatever he does. Because he doesn't make excuses. And I feel like the world has come to a place where we're like, an excuse is just everything's an excuse. Like, it's just not.
Yeah,
it's frustrating.
Yeah,
like I see it with some of my clients. Like, I have people pay me a decent amount of money in my mind, and then disappear. Like, they'll get their plan, and then I'll never hear from them again. And I reach out, and I never hear from them. Like, why'd you pay me? Like, what's the point at that? Like, I get it. It's Williamson County. Y'all have money. Cool. But, like, I don't like getting money to not work. I want to work. And people should understand that they are going to have to work too. Like, I can't chew the food and spit it in their mouth. This isn't baby bird session. Yeah. It's like, hey, I'm going to teach you how to do it, and you got to do it.
Yep.
People just make excuses.
Yeah, that is the culture we're in. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
What is your take on saturated fats? Can you say what those are, where they come from, and do they lead to heart attacks and strokes?
I mean, an excess of anything is going to cause some sort of, overwhelming reaction. But like saturated fats aren't really all that bad for you. There's saturated fat in yolk, saturated fat in avocado, saturated fat in coconut oil. And those are all deemed mostly healthy.
And steaks too, right? Is there saturated fats in steak?
Yeah.
Red meat in general?
Yeah. I mean, it's just, there's also when you think about it, if it's in our bodies, it's going to be in meat.
If it's in our bodies,
if it's in our bodies,
okay,
naturally in our bodies, saturated fats are naturally in our body. It's going to be in a cow.
Okay.
So, and then you think about there's creatine in cows, because it's in their muscles. It's in our muscles, so it's just one of those things where yes, it's in there, but people are focusing more on the char on a steak being carcinogens and things like that.
Yep.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't subscribe to that either. I mean, I would have to eat a lot of steak
to get carcinogens. I saw something about that recently. Yeah. Where they were saying you can get carcinogens. What is carcinogens?
It's a cancer causing matter or material. Yeah.
How would you advise anyone, would you advise me to eat differently when I have an injury, say a lower back issue? Or do you just try to eat clean and power through? Can you use diet to affect?
You can, because you already talked about it. You talked about when you eat a certain way, it's very inflammatory to your body. You feel it. Well, that's not going to be good to a back injury. All right. So you've switched yourself over to more of a carnivore style. So you're talking more low carb, less processed foods, more protein, more fat. Your body feels better. I mean, right there, you already told me what you need to do. I mean, in moderation in terms of the red meat, you can eat other meats too. I mean, I eat red meat probably 3 times a week, 3 meals a week out of 21. That's nothing.
Yep.
Over the grand scheme of time, that is nothing. So if you feel good doing that and you feel better than you did eating a balanced diet, then that's going to work for you. For me, I competed for 2 years completely keto. And
oh wow,
I loved it. I felt amazing. Felt great. So in terms of how people are built, so I did a study on myself that I found out that I'm more of a fat adaptive athlete. So I can convert fat to energy better than a lot of other people.
Okay.
Which is why keto worked so well for me. And I could stay on it for an extended period of time. It wasn't just a short thing. But so we did some research on one of my clients, and she did a bunch of blood work through Wild Health, and they were like, yeah, she's built better for fats. So I was like, I mean, she just competed, had a great season, and I had her on 400 grams of carbs plus.
Wait, when she was competing and doing great, you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so they were like, all right, let's switch her over and see what happens. She hated it. She wasn't performing well. She didn't feel good. Nothing felt right. And I was like, all right, for health, long term, once you're done competing, we can switch you to something like that. But right now, or even in the off season, but right now you have to do what feels best. You have to do what's going to make you money. You have to do what's going to make you feel better, perform better, look better. And that's what we did.
And that was the 400 to 500 grams of carbs a day. Okay.
It's purposeful carb. I'm not telling her to eat Snickers or gummy bears or anything like that. It's, very measured in how we do things. So it's when you're working with a professional athlete, it has to be precise. Otherwise, you're just taking chances. I hate guessing. So I would rather just be right all the time.
Do you do work with NHL players, NBA players, NFL players, probably a fair bit of CrossFit athletes. Do you sort of, once you know what sport someone's playing, does that sort of narrow down some options for you, or isn't it like that at all?
Food-wise?
Yeah, food-wise. No. Okay.
No, I mean, it really, everyone's so different. It comes down to the individualization of it. So calorie level, carbohydrates over fats, fats over carbohydrates, protein usually stays pretty static. That's kind of my baseline number. It's usually their body weight or a little bit more for professional athletes. You know, so 1 to 1.5 grams per pound of body weight.
Okay.
Yeah.
Of protein.
Protein.
And that's a lot. So if I'm,
I
so
can,
what do we,
I can hit it so easy. Are you kidding me? Like I can hit 260 like nothing.
260 grams?
Yeah. Cause I mean, I enjoy protein.
Yeah, but how do you get, that's a lot though. How much are you getting out of a protein shake? You don't do protein?
If I do a protein shake, it's usually 21 grams. I use EFPs, vegan protein, because whey kind of messes with me.
Something's messing with me. I was going to ask you if it's creatine. Right now, the last thing I got from creatine was pills. So I'm taking creatine pills, which I wouldn't think they would mess my gut up. But I get that Ascent whey protein.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's either that or the creatine or the beta alanine that's not sitting so good in my gut. Which do you think it's most
probably not
probable?
the beta alanine.
Probably not that?
Beta alanine doesn't really have a gut reaction.
Okay.
Creatine can throw off your nitrogen balance in your stomach a little bit, but I would say it's probably the whey. And Ascent's a really good brand.
I know it is, yeah.
So like it could just be a sensitivity to whey.
So if you took whey protein, it wouldn't sit so good with you?
No, bubble guts.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So how do you get so much protein down then?
I eat a lot of food.
But
Like,
I mean, it's hard. Like I was trying to put on some pounds like 9 months ago or something, and I was eating my face off. And this was with 50 grams of protein coming from the whey, the protein powder. I was having a hard time physically eating it all.
So you think about it. Say you have 3 meals a day of 8 ounces of protein. That's 48 grams per meal. So you're at 150 right there. And that's just from protein.
So if you had an 8-ounce steak 3 times a day.
I mean,
what you're
8
saying?
ounces of protein, 8 ounces of meat.
Okay.
3 times a day. Then you're at 150 grams right there.
Okay.
You know, so
yeah,
it's not that bad at that point.
Yeah, no, that doesn't seem.
No. That's
that
only
bad.
like people are like, oh, I got to eat like 6 meals. No, you don't have to eat 6 meals a day.
Okay.
You just got to eat enough at the meals that you're eating, you know? And then that's not even factoring in like if you have some quinoa, there's protein in there. If you have some, peanut butter, there's some protein in there, but it's not a protein source. It just has protein. Okay,
don't eat peanut butter as a protein source.
It's not a protein source. It has protein. But there's tons of foods that cross over in that aspect. Like if you want some quick protein, there's First Form makes these beef sticks, 20 grams of protein per stick.
Oh, that's a lot.
Yeah.
That's equivalent to 1 scoop of my whey protein powder that's been messing me up.
Yeah. So there's a lot of different ways to do it, and it's not as hard as people make it out to be.
So, all right, so you're going to tailor it to the individual for sure.
Yeah.
But if we could paint with broad strokes, which probably makes you super nervous, but if we could, for the average, 3 to 5 times a week CrossFit, not necessarily competitor, but myself, want to feel good, look good, going into the gym multiple times a week, and specifically doing CrossFit, no known allergies or whatever, how are you thinking about kind of a, basic food plan?
Well, a lot of it comes down to the questions that I ask in our consult. So like it would, like for you, I wouldn't say that you're normal because you feel better on a higher protein fat diet. So that's out of the norm. Most people are carb-based athletes. So we start there. I'll essentially start with their protein, build it out from there, and based on their body fat percentage and what their goal is, I'll build out a caloric intake that is going to put them at a deficit, but not too much of a deficit.
Okay, and so let's go back to the protein. And so you're suggesting 1.5 grams of protein per pound of body weight.
For normal people, one gram.
1 gram
Per pound.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 1 gram per pound. Okay. So then you're moving on to carbs.
Yeah.
And then what are the generalities there for carbs?
It just depends on how many calories we're getting in there. So like,
Okay.
I mean, I don't really like a low carb. I like a moderate carb to start people out because we want balance. So once I can have a person at balance, then I can be like, all right, this is our baseline. This is what we're looking. How do you feel? and we meet every 2 weeks from that point on and make sure like, hey, this is working, this is not working. Hey, I feel like I'm bloated all the time. Oh, let's drop your carb down a little bit or change the carbs that are in there or up the fat. But I'm not going to, like, there's a point where you can't take calories away. Like, people are already starving themselves and then they're binging on the weekends because they're starving themselves during the week. So if we can keep balance calorically through the week, they're not going to have those massive cravings on the weekend. So that's the goal. The goal is keep blood sugar steady, keep their bodies happy and balanced, and then, make adjustments based on, what the results are with body fat percentage. Body fat percentage is king in what I do.
Okay. And so just the average person, how much, if I was just eating the average and felt fine on carbs, how much carbs a day would I?
It depends on where you are body fat wise and what caloric intake you were. But I mean, there's no reason that, like, what are you, like 100?
185.
So 185, probably about 10% body fat, 9.
Oh, dude, I have no idea. How would I know?
I mean, I have an in-body.
You pinched the gut, or
I can do calipers. I would only trust a 7-spot caliper. Anything less than that is not terribly accurate.
Okay.
Just the foot biometric impedance is not very accurate. So I have an in-body in my office, and I also have calipers.
Okay.
So we're figuring that out, get those data points in, and make the analytical decision on how many calories based on your resting metabolic rate, what your output is during the workout, what your non-exercise activity is.
Okay.
There's a lot of stuff goes into it.
Yeah.
So that's why I can't, like, being general.
Yeah.
Be like, all right, well, you should eat 1,800 calories a day.
Yep.
Or you should eat 2,800 calories a day. Like, personally, I'm 210 and I eat 3,500 plus calories a day. So
that's on the high side, right?
I mean, like, but I'm never like, oh man, I ate over my calories. I can fit anything in there. For, like, my wife's like, and again, she's pregnant. So she's like, I want Taco Bell. I'm like, all right, I can find something at Taco Bell.
Yeah.
Is that just to maintain?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What, for you to maintain 3,500 calories, just maintain your muscle mass? Okay.
And energy and output and everything that I do.
Okay. Yeah. How would one find, like, their sort of what they should be eating to maintain without, going to a specialist?
I mean, there's a lot of in-bodies out there. So, like, you can go to, like, NutriShop and get an in-body test, and that'll give you your resting metabolic rate.
Okay.
So then you can kind of build it off that. Be like, all right, my resting metabolic rate's here. I burn maybe 300 calories in a workout. I have a very sedentary job, so maybe I'm burning an extra 200 there. So I'm looking at, let's just say, 2,000 calories that I'm burning in a day, 2,200 calories. So then you just cut back a little bit from that, depending on how fast you want to lose or how intentional you want to be. And then, you have your number.
My weight, for whatever reason, just stays the same. Like, if I just start eating crap tomorrow and eat kind of whatever I want to eat, but keep going to the gym, my weight won't change. I will just start to feel gross. I'll feel like shit.
Yeah.
My belly will get soft and bigger, and but my weight doesn't change that much. But I wouldn't mind to put a little bit more weight on. The worst shape I was in was coming out of 2019 into 2020, and I was 165 pounds, and felt gross. I was probably the fattest that I've ever been in my life, and just belly fat, and did not like the way I looked or felt or anything. And 2 years later, I felt amazing, but there was a lot of work in between there. I mean, sometimes I would go to the gym twice in a day. That was when I was in between gigs, like I was saying earlier. And so over the course of 2 years, and I put on 10 pounds, which I was very happy about. And then I was at 175, and then I wanted to go to 185, and I started just eating my face off based on, some things that had been recommended to me, and it was working, but I was having a hard time eating as much as I was supposed to be eating because I don't like to eat breakfast. So I had to eat it all basically between late afternoon and by the time I went to sleep.
Yeah.
And it was, like, physically hard to eat that much. I was starting to gain a little bit of weight, but then I got one of those injuries, and that kind of just put a damper on it.
Yeah.
And then in May of 2022, I started testosterone replacement therapy because I was real low. My T levels were super low. and I put on 10 pounds like that. So
Yeah.
now I'm at 185. But I feel like the last 10 pounds is probably more fake weight. Like maybe it's water weight or something.
I think it's probably normalizing where your body should be.
Oh, you
know,
think?
I'm
Okay.
a proponent of doctor prescribed HRT because if you do the blood work and you're not abusing, because the problem is people look at TRT, HRT as abuse, steroid abuse.
Yeah. Well, it was, right? Didn't it kind of went through a season when it was first becoming popular?
It's
It might have
highly
been
regulated now.
100%.
You know, so it's like, it's one of those things where, and one of my buddies owns one of the largest ones in the country. And it's like they will not prescribe you anything if you're too young, if your numbers are too good, you know, they're not going to put someone in that position. Cause if you're making it naturally and you're at where you should be, you don't need it.
Yeah.
Like that's an ego thing.
Absolutely.
If you want to keep doing it. And like, if you're going to go find it, you're going to go find it wherever you want to. But
Yep.
you know, it's one of those things where I'm behind it as long as it's doctor led, and the doctors actually know what they're looking for. They do the right hormone panels, and they're doing the things that they need to do. Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, unless something changes, I plan to be on it the rest of my life.
Yeah.
I mean, unless there's another way to go about it or whatever. But it didn't seem like there really was. But it definitely was affecting my mood and my outlook and my energy. You know, it's the central hormone, from what I understand, in the male's body.
well, I mean, it's the driving force for output, you know, in a male's body, and I mean, females need it too. There's hormone replacement therapy for women as well. But I mean, you know, you look at where our society has gone over the last 50 years, like testosterone has dropped, like I think it's like 30%,
Yeah.
like in normal aged men, like the people who stormed the beaches of Normandy had way more testosterone than the people who are in college right now.
That is true.
Yeah.
And what do you think that is causing that?
I mean, processed foods,
Okay.
seeds, all that all the stuff that we talked about leading into this, you know, social disease, social media. I believe that social media has such a hold on people, like that they almost fall into it rather than just using it as like information. It's like that's how they live their lives now, you know, and that's a disease in my mind. That's a mental disease.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right about that. I wouldn't disagree with that. Yeah, because it is it's trapping so many people. I mean, it's tempting for me to get drawn into that.
Oh, dude, I hate it. If I didn't have my business that was tied to it, I would never want to be on it.
Yeah, I agree. Yep.
You know, otherwise, like it has zero value to me. Like I prefer Facebook is so much easier than Instagram because like I don't have to look at it. Like I never feel like I want to look at Facebook, but I know if I want to go check in on my mom or check in on my sister and her kids, I can do that on Facebook without feeling like I'm stuck there.
Yeah.
Instagram is just like reels.
That's true.
Rolling. It's like TikTok. All right. Like I don't have TikTok.
Yeah, I don't either.
Like I won't download that.
I'm not doing
for the
that,
life
man.
of me. No,
I'm not doing that.
I don't care. Like how, like I don't want to be famous.
Yeah.
Like that's never been the goal of what I do. My goal is to help people. Like, and 100%, if I can help people, I don't care if people know my name. I really don't. Like, I don't ask my famous clients to be like, hey, this is my nutritionist, because I just want to do my job.
Yep.
You know, if you send people to me, which I've lasted 15 years without any marketing, you know, I mean, people keep sending people to me. So that's how I know I'm doing a good job. You know, I don't need, like I told one of my clients, he's got like 1 million followers. Like, I don't know how you get 1 million followers, but he has 1 million followers. And I was like, listen, I don't need you to post. If you want to post, that's fine. But like, that's not a requirement to working with me. Like, you pay me, that's enough.
Yep.
You know, if you post, great. Like, I don't even know if I can handle what would come from that.
Yeah.
But you know, it's just, I don't need it.
Yeah. I've definitely noticed, for me, I've noticed an inverse relationship between my mental health, or how, that's an overused term, so I hate to use mental health, but how well I'm doing emotionally and mentally, and my time on social media.
There's a direct correlation.
Yeah. And it's inverse. Like, the more I'm spending on social media, the worse state my mind is. And when I've was completely off of social media for a good little run a couple years ago. Dude, it was way better.
Yeah.
But I think you can use it. I think that's the key is you want to use it and don't let it use you.
Well, it comes down to control. I mean, if you look at control and choices, and this is why I love Jordan Peterson, and that's probably one of the main reasons why I have Instagram still, is
Jordan Peterson.
I will listen to him talk. Like I have all his books.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'll listen to him just talk about the defunct, like 20-year-olds or the generation that's coming through and how we need to fix it. He's not just being like pointing out like, hey, these guys are degenerates. He's like,
right,
this is how we can go about making this better. So like, I mean, I enjoy Instagram for that. You know,
one of the things he was saying recently that made a lot of sense is he's talking about the myth or the archetype of the devouring mother, and how, it's not like it's an archetype, but you have like the fairy tale of Hans and Gretel in the woods, and they're kind of lost, don't know where they're going. Then they find this little gingerbread house, and it has candy over it, and they go in there, and then they get eaten by the wicked witch, And his idea for this is it relates to masculinity in culture. When masculine becomes essentially dangerous, then you have sort of a more feminine culture, I guess you could say, and then you're going to get sort of perpetual children, because that is sort of the more feminine, because like there's toxic masculinity, there's toxic femininity also, and so
why doesn't anyone talk about that?
Yes, I've changed my mind actually on this. Kobe's heard me talk about this a couple times, but I was kind of a hypothesis that I'd had for probably a year or two was like that talking about toxic masculinity is not the right way to think about it, because it just so happens that, there's a percentage of people that are just assholes, and sometimes I'm an asshole, but that doesn't mean that, or this is being recorded, isn't it? This is like, an idiot or whatever. But that doesn't,
we can't swear.
Yeah,
I'll save that clip.
But that doesn't mean that, but that doesn't mean necessarily that it's like toxic, that my masculinity is toxic. It's just that I'm an idiot. Like a certain amount of people are idiots that also happen to be men. But it paints masculinity in I think an unfortunate light when anyone who's an idiot who happens to be a man, we say it's toxic masculinity.
Yep.
Which I think there's still a point there, but it might be more helpful to what I was getting at with that was I just only ever heard about toxic masculinity, but I never heard about toxic femininity. So if we're okay saying that, yeah, there's the feminine and there's the masculine, and either can be toxic, either can be bad, both can be used for bad things or for unhelpful purposes, then okay, now I'm more comfortable with it. But my point with all that is that on the feminine side, when that kind of goes awry, if you will, the temptation is to not let people grow up. And Jordan made a quote, which is pretty direct, and I don't have personal experience enough to know if this is anywhere close to correct or not, but he was saying that now we have these people in running our colleges that are involved with colleges, and some of them are toxic females, toxic femininity, and they never had kids of their own, and so now they are causing the college kids to be their kids forever and stay kids forever. Like they're not letting them grow up. I mean, when you think about what's happening in our culture right now, it's like, oh, okay. Whether he's right or not, I don't really know, but I kind of see his point.
I mean, it's definitely something that is worth looking into, because, I read this book, Tribe of Men by Sebastian Junger, and there's this tribe of monkeys in I think it's Africa, but it might be South America. They're called the bonobos. Bonobos are led by the women. The men are demasculated, and they're essentially the bonobos monkeys are going into almost extinction because the men don't have any desire to procreate because they've been abused so much by the female leaders of the group. So like that's where I see our society looking, because we're trying to extinguish what a man is. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know if you've seen any of this stuff from. I know my wife loves Candace Owens, but it's like
what's a woman?
Yes.
Or what's a man?
What's a man?
Yeah.
Yeah. And no one can answer because the answer constantly is changing for people. You know, it's like, all right, what fits my agenda? How can I spin it? Like I always say, like what's the most hated person in the world right now is a middle-aged white guy.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And I don't have any race involved in any sort of hatred. I don't even have any hate in me, but like people hate me for no reason. People hate white middle-aged dudes. Like Williams County is full of people that get hated, you know? And it's just like, what do you do?
Yeah.
Like, how do you, I can't say anything because then I'm toxic masculinity.
Right.
But like, what does that mean? Like toxic masculinity, are people looking at that as like chivalry's bad? Like I can't open a door for someone. I've opened a door for a woman and she's like, I could have gotten it. I'm like,
yeah.
I mean, I was raised Catholic. I say sir, ma'am.
Yep.
Like those are that's how I was raised. Like, so I'm supposed to go back in time and fix that because you felt like I shouldn't open the door for you. I mean, that drives me wild.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Like I don't even need a thank you. Just I held the door. Just go through it.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It's funny you brought that up because I held the door for an older lady just 2 days ago, and she didn't say a thing, man.
Yeah.
I was like, oh shoot, I don't know what I should have been not like. I don't know.
What's
like,
the expectation?
And also, I would not have felt it weird at all if she had opened the door for me. I would walk through and I'd have said thank you. Like someone just opened the door. Does it really matter what your gender is?
I open the door for dudes all the time.
100%, and they always say thank you.
Yeah.
This person was like, but anyhow, maybe she was in a bad mood, or it doesn't matter, but
I just don't have an expectation of anyone saying thank you. Like that's what, like I was raised that way. I don't have the expectation that that's how it's going to be because society has dictated that like people just aren't considerate anymore.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. There's some out there, but you're right. There's a lot. It's not like it used to be, and I'm only 38. So
yeah, people are out for themselves, and I understand that. It's like the Hunger Games for a lot of people, but man, some civility will go a long way.
Well, and by the way, you were talking about the documentary "What Is a Woman," right? Not "What Is a Man." There's not one.
What Is a Woman?
Yeah. But that's Matt Walsh, not Candace
Walsh.
Yeah.
I just assume because they're all on Parler together, and they all.
Oh, is Parler still a thing?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know. Hey, but have you seen that documentary? What is a woman?
I've seen some of it.
Okay.
My wife keeps trying to get me to sit down. Like, I have a hard time watching nonsense.
Yeah.
Like, some of the stuff that, and I'm not saying he's nonsense. What I'm saying is like the people that they're interviewing. If you can't answer the question, then it's nonsense.
Yeah.
Like you don't have any sort of ground to stand on. Just like I can't watch that stuff. Like I had there's a new movie out called You People. It's with Jonah Hill.
Oh yeah.
I have not seen it or heard of it.
It's cringy, man. I was like sitting there like I can't laugh. I don't know what to do. Yeah. Like it was rough.
Is it supposed to be funny?
I think so.
Okay.
It's Jonah
But
Hill.
you didn't like it?
It was rough, man.
Wait, Jonah Hill is who I'm thinking it is,
Yeah.
Right? And he's usually pretty funny.
Yeah.
It
was funny.
But the movie, okay.
It was interesting.
Like Eddie Murphy was in it, and it was like
I didn't like his role that much.
No, he was terrible.
Yeah, surprising.
Okay. Like you're Eddie Murphy, you're supposed to be hilarious. You were freaking Donkey in Shrek, and you're gonna be this guy?
Okay.
It's ridiculous to me.
Is it woke or what made
very,
it? Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I struggle with that stuff because I just treat all people the same.
Yeah.
Like if you're, like you said earlier, if you're an asshole, you're an asshole.
Yeah.
I'm just not going to deal with you.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah. I think that it's less. Some of the stuff is less. It's spreading less quickly than it was a few years ago.
I think
So that's why
there's
I
a lot
feel-
of pushback.
Yeah, it's one of the reasons that I've always been fascinated by the medium of podcasting. Like ever since it was a thing, like back in 2009, I've always been intrigued by it. But it's one of the areas that I feel like some hope for the future. Because
Well-
if you think about how 2020 would have been with no podcasts, it would have been worse.
It would have been rough.
It would have been worse
Yeah.
because all of the news medias were pumping some kind of particular narrative.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, they can still deplatform you or shadow ban or demonetize and stuff. But still, like, the internet allows you to talk into this speaker and record it on the internet and broadcast it. And not a lot right now they can do about that.
Yeah.
So it's an area of back to this truth, you know, like you can't, truth will eventually like be known. If we can like keep at least some free channels of communication open, that's an area that I'm optimistic about.
Well, and I think, you know, you see people like Joe Rogan. He's more powerful than any sort of platform.
He's like more powerful than most of them combined at this
Exactly.
point. It's crazy.
So, you know, that does give you hope that there's actually going to be, like, he puts people on his show that, like, he asks the questions that are hard and they answer, you know, because it's the Joe Rogan show. I mean, you know, he does that. He has interesting guests. He had all the COVID people on, all the guy who mRNA, he started that. Like, he had everyone on. Like, it was like, and no one could shut him down. They wanted to, but they couldn't.
Yeah, they gave it a good run when
Yeah.
he got sick with COVID and then took the ivermectin.
Yeah.
And
It was better. Him and Aaron Rodgers.
yeah. The but he came through that, I think. But in the moment, you just didn't know what was going to happen because I mean, you just don't know. Like, could Spotify do a change? Like, you know, you don't know. I mean,
He brings them so much. It's a money thing. Like,
Well, yeah,
he brings them
that's
so
true.
much money that it
yeah,
don't
but
care.
this woke thing though sometimes can be more powerful than money because if enough of people get on the same page and cause you to do whatever they want you to do, you know.
yeah, they tried it for him though, and it didn't work.
Yeah. They did give it a good run.
So
I wanted to ask you too about essential. This is something I don't know a ton about. The essential things that our body needs that it doesn't produce on its own. What a term that I'm more familiar with is like essential. Is it fats? Essential fats?
essential fatty acids.
Yeah, essential fatty
essential
acids.
amino acids.
Yes. Yeah.
Non-essential. Yeah.
What are the things that the body does not produce on its own that we need to make sure that we're ingesting? I'm thinking B12 is one of them, but that's like as far as I know.
I'm a firm believer that if we're eating a balanced diet, you're getting the things that you need.
Okay.
Like outside of right now, the big thing is vitamin D, because
Okay.
people have been locked inside for a year, 2 years. So vitamin D, you'll have to supplement with that. Usually calcium with that. Magnesium is usually a good combination with those three together. But like if you're eating whole foods, you're not going to need a whole lot. Like you really aren't.
So when you say a balanced diet, what needs to be included in there? Because we talked about protein, we talked about carbs. What else would you lump in with a balanced diet?
I mean, everything would have to be involved in it. So like the way I break down carbohydrates is there's 3 different types of carbohydrates there. And this is based on how they affect your blood sugar. So there's slow burning carbohydrates, which is more of like an up and then like a slow kind of like a long-term energy. There's fast burning carbohydrates, which are like a up and a down, like a quick burst of energy and then a drop. And then there's fibrous carbs, which are essentially, micronutrient based, and you're working more on satiety. And then you have proteins and fats.
Okay. So if you're eating across all that, you should be pretty good.
Should be. Yeah.
But also, I'm assuming you'd be an advocate for getting your blood checked at least once a year. And
I do mine every 6 months.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay. So you blood draw every 6 months, see where you're at, and then supplement accordingly.
I mean, I don't really, I work with the EFP, and I really like their products, but I don't really take supplements.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I really don't.
Huh.
It's just food. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So Can you think of an example of something you were low on and then you complemented that with food instead of a supplement?
I mean, the thing about it is over the last probably 5, even when I wasn't doing keto, my numbers were all fine.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, if you're missing out on some choline, or you're missing out on some potassium or something like that, you can always eat some green leafy vegetables. Mm-hmm. You can eat some bananas, things like that are going to help balance that out. But for me personally, it hasn't really come into play.
Really? Okay. But that is because when you're getting your blood tested, are you saying you're getting your blood tested and you happen to be kind of optimal or where you should be within range on pretty much every marker?
Yeah.
Oh, shoot, man. Dang. Huh. Well, you've either tapped into some sort of well of life, or it's because your genetics are good, or it's because you're eating good, or all of the above.
I think it's mainly my food and my exercise, more so than anything. I mean, genetic wise, both of my parents are 5'4" and overweight.
Oh, really?
High cholesterol, heart issues, all that stuff. So genetics, while they do play a factor, is they can be overridden if you want to work hard enough for it. So.
Well, that's not what the new director of obesity under the Biden administration. Do you see this lady?
Dude, I was embarrassed listening to her.
What is her name?
Black lady, right?
She might be black.
I'm pretty sure she is.
Yeah. Can you look it up, Kobe?
It's
if you look up the Biden administration,
diabetes talk,
head of obesity.
Yeah. Oh man, it was brutal.
But I saw that she's coming out now and saying publicly that obesity has more to do with genetics and it's not really connected to what you eat. This is what she's saying. And so because of this,
do you trust anything coming out of the Biden administration?
No, yeah, that's her right there.
Yeah.
Fatima Cody Stanford.
Yeah.
Kobe, can you just Google Fatima Cody Stanford? Google something about obesity and advice on obesity, or obesity coming from genetics or something like that, and see what pops up. Weight bias.
She's an obesity specialist.
Yes, so she's an obesity specialist. And I think it was maybe Breaking Points that was covering this. And she is saying publicly that obesity has more to do with genetics than it does have to do with what you eat.
Well, they tried to pull this a long time ago where they said it was diabetes, obesity is all a genetic disease. And being overweight is a disability.
Sure. Well, it would be if it's genetic. Or it could be.
But if that was the case, so just hear me out. I've been 200 pounds since 6th grade. All right. If that was the case, then I would be overweight.
You've been 200 pounds since 6th grade?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Well, you got there quick, man.
Yeah.
Wow, I have a 7th grader in the house.
Shoney's breakfast bars.
So you got there from eating poorly?
Yeah.
Okay. But then you stabilized and turned it to an advantage.
I mean, I was blessed enough to be a good athlete. And, I started playing football. I played hockey my whole life, baseball, wrestling. Anything I could do, I just played sports. And I think that, I was still kind of until I went to college and played football. And then, no one taught me how to eat there, but, I just kind of started to get a grasp of it. And then I moved to California and I started really learning nutrition after that. And that's when it kind of all kicked in. I've been as heavy as 250.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. By the way, shout out to my friends listening from upstate New York. This guy went to school in Ithaca.
Yes.
Yeah, but anyhow, he was...
can't be treated with diet and exercise.
What is this saying? This is saying physician who claimed obesity can't be treated with diet and exercise joins Biden administration. Yeah. And so as it turns out, she is a big advocate for this new weight loss pill that's come out. I don't know the name of it.
Semaglutide?
Maybe. It's the one that just came out.
It's like Ozempic.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's showing a lot of promise.
Yeah.
But as it turns out, that company has paid her money in the past. But now she's the head of obesity under the current administration, talking about how obesity is more genetic than it is driven from what you eat, to the extent that their recommendation is that if an obese person comes back to see their doctor and their doctor pushes back on the fact that, like, if they came in and said, no, I've been eating what you've told me to eat, and it's like 3 months later or 6 months later, and the doc says and pushes back on it or inquires further about that, because the doc can clearly tell in a situation like that they have not been eating what he's prescribed them to eat, that he's not supposed to follow up on that, because that's like, it could cause fat shaming. So it's kind of going down this trail that we already went down with the transgender stuff, which is like, you got to let them follow their own mind. Don't push back. Don't make them uncomfortable. Let them do what they want to do. But now we're starting to do that with obesity. And
you ever seen Wall-E? You know what I'm talking about?
I don't know that I have. A movie?
Yeah. It's like, it's a movie about a robot, but the whole...
No, I have not.
It's a Disney pick.
Okay.
And the whole of society is like overweight, immobile. Yeah, like that.
And the robots take over, or what happens in it?
I mean, I kind of think
they're taken care of by the robots. Yeah.
Essentially, it's like a human farm.
Yeah.
So that's the if we leave people to their own devices, they will find an excuse. We don't need to give it to them. Mm-hmm. You're going to give them an excuse. Oh, your parents are overweight, so you're going to be overweight. Just deal with it. Mm-hmm. Like,
it's not helpful.
No,
it's not helpful.
You're not giving people any power at all. What you're doing is you're giving them an excuse to not do anything, to not take action. And what's the biggest issue in this country right now is the 80% of people in the middle who aren't taking action. So, you're letting the 10% on either side duke it out in as loud as possible. And it's just like, that's not how I feel.
Mm-hmm. What do you think is the most dangerous thing circulating out there as sort of like common practices related to food, or common beliefs, or just sort of like cultural narratives around food that where do we have it most wrong with the way America's eating right now, would you say?
Eat less to lose weight. Always less. Eat 6 small meals a day to stoke your metabolism. Low protein, high carb. I mean, any of those things, like, there's a lot of old like myths that are out there, like chicken and broccoli and brown rice is the way to go. Like, restrict, all this stuff is so frustrating to me, because like that was what was taught to me. Like when I first started like really trying to take into it, because I was in the bodybuilding world. And like I made a post today about this, and it was like, the line of the post was like, all right, CrossFit made me small and weak. All right. But like I have a picture of me doing bodybuilding and doing a photo shoot at 197 pounds, and I look sick. Like I look uncomfortably sick, and I was not healthy. I was eating 1,800 calories a day. I was eating cold tilapia, like terrible. Like, first of all, don't eat tilapia. It's farmed. It eats its own poop. You don't want to eat that.
Really?
Yeah, it's terrible. Don't
Oh, okay. Well, I'll think differently about that going forward.
Yeah, like I'm a seafood snob because I've lived on both coasts, so I don't eat it anywhere other than the coast.
I've never heard that before.
Yeah, it's terrible. Tilapia is farmed. It's really gross. Yeah, but like, so I've been through all those myths. Like I've been like preached those things, and that's just some old school bodybuilding stuff, and all that stuff circulates and just continues to circulate. Like, it'll go away and it'll come back. It's just like, if you look at Muscle and Fitness from 20 years ago to today, it's the same articles, just different pictures. It's just all stuff circulating back and back, and they try to like keep running it through. So like there's a lot of stuff like that. Like 6 small meals a day though to stoke your metabolism, there's actually no science behind that.
Really? That, even for bodybuilders?
Yeah. I mean, they probably eat 6 small meals a day to get enough calories in.
Okay, just to eat enough.
But, I mean, I eat what I eat in 3 to 4 meals.
Okay. What about, I don't feel good when I eat breakfast, so I don't eat until, well, usually it's until that protein shake, which I'm going to think differently about, man. at 1 o'clock. Is that just a personal preference, would you say? Do what feels good?
Yeah, 100%. Like, if intermittent fasting fits your schedule, then do it. Like, is it a shortened window? For sure. But, like, you know, is it easier to hit your numbers if you're having breakfast, lunch, and dinner? Sure. But if you can't get a good meal in and enjoy it or, like, utilize it, then don't do it.
Then skip it?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
You have to meet people on their level. And that's one of the things that I have learned over the last 15 years is that if I try to make you get to my level, it's going to be a disaster. So if I'm changing your food in your schedule, it's going to be a mess. If I'm just changing your food and living on your schedule, you at least have some comfort. All right. And we can work through that. We can work through the first 2 weeks that go through any problems that come across. And if people actually ask me questions, then, you know, we can make changes in between those 2 weeks. It just it has to be about you. It can't be about me. And I think people miss that point. They don't want to know themselves. They don't want to listen to how their body. Like if I'm like, hey, how do you feel when you eat rice? How do you feel when you have beans? Like if you have black beans, you know, do you feel bloated? Do you feel achy? Do you any of this stuff? People are like, oh, I don't know. Like, how do you not know? Like, how do you not know how you feel? Pay attention to it.
Yeah.
Like your health is going to, like you're worried about your job, but if you can't work because you're sick, what are you going to have? You don't have your health anymore and you don't have your job.
Yeah. Yeah. So you really are fine tuning everyone's plan based on what is working for them.
100%.
What's interesting about that is like, that's at the end of the day, that's very anecdotal, you know, like, and I think that's something that I'm starting to just be more comfortable with. Like, look, if I feel great eating this certain way, then I care less what the studies show because I feel great eating that way. But you would still, though, I mean, just from a common sense standpoint, it would seem like eating carnivore forever, you're missing out on some good things, right? Like maybe you
will miss out on some nutrients that you need, and you'll have to supplement them.
Yep.
For sure.
Part of the reason that carnivore has always worked so good for me is because I do not diet. I'm not the type, I like more, I believe more in habits and process than in goals, quite frankly. So like, I'll have friends who are like, you know, I'm going to go the next month without drinking coffee, or someone who drinks a lot, all of a sudden they're going 3 months with no alcohol. It's like they can force themselves to do these things. But what I have noticed, and not in every case at all, but by the way, that's wonderful. But I have noticed for the more goal-oriented people, like they skip alcohol for a month and then they're right back to drinking. Exactly. So it's like, okay, what did we really do long-term help here? And I'd rather just start to develop daily habits, that work for me. But this is one area where I guess I'm quote unquote diet, I guess, so to speak. But the reason it works for me in part, I think, is because it's easier for me to set the boundary around just carnivore. And for some reason, man, I like to hear more. I like to get your thoughts on this, but I have a hard time setting that boundary at real food and snack. Like if I could set the boundary there, which I would think would be a preferable place to set the boundary, that would be better than just carnivore. But I have a hard time, like when I start to eat just whatever, like real healthy whole foods, I snack in the evenings too much, and I have a hard time cutting that out.
It's because you're not eating enough during the day.
Oh,
yeah. So like usually snacks and cravings are imbalances from what you've done that day. So like if you have a sweet tooth, you're not eating enough sugars or fast burning carbohydrates during the day.
Oh,
yeah. Okay. So if you cut that stuff out, like I don't have cravings for sugar, even though I don't eat sugar.
Okay.
But I think that's based on the way my body metabolizes fats and utilizes those better than it does carbohydrates. Because I've gone to the 400 grams of carbohydrates, and I mean I didn't look much different, but I felt awful because my body just didn't process it well.
Okay.
So it comes down to how your body's processing foods. And if you're having those sweet cravings, you just like for someone who's on a lower carb diet, I'd be like, all right, we'll just add blueberries.
Yeah.
Add something. There's going to be something that we can add that will benefit you in that aspect.
Yes, that makes sense. Okay, because I think what tends to happen for me is I don't eat. Sometimes it's 5, 6 o'clock, and I realize I haven't eaten a single thing that day.
Well, there's some good studies on fasting.
Yeah,
Purposefully fasting.
but then where I'm going with this is that then I'll remember I haven't eaten. Oh yeah, and then I'll go eat a big plate of something. But even though I just ate a bunch because I didn't eat throughout the day, I might feel full. But what you're saying is maybe my body still hasn't gotten what it kind of needed for that day.
100%. Like there's, I doubt, like, I don't know what your calorie level is at. And I don't know if you know, because you kind of intuitively eat, right?
That is correct. Yeah. I don't measure anything.
So I don't know what you're normally eating, but like if you cut down from 2 meals a day to 1, you're not going to hit your numbers. You're going to be lacking.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think I need to start eating more, maybe for lunch, try to get more in earlier in the day.
I think this is where, like, when we were talking about discipline over motivation, this is where structure really helps. So you'd be like, all right, at 12, I'm eating this. At 3, I'm eating this. And then at 6:30, I'm eating this. And then I'm done. You're having those meals. You don't know what's in them. Maybe you're not measuring. That's fine. I mean, that works for you. Cool. I measure everything and I write everything down, because that's like, when you were young, you had a binky. That's my binky.
Yeah. Okay.
Like, it's my comfort. Like I need to do that because it makes me feel better about it and makes me know that I ate enough.
You do this every day?
Every day.
You measure everything and you write it down every day?
Yeah.
Wow.
I used to do it in journals from like 2010 to 2014. It was in journals, and then 2014 on is all digital.
Okay. But that seems very cumbersome to me. How are you measuring this stuff?
I like measuring meat and stuff.
I guess, yeah. Any
Scale.
of it. Okay.
Food scale.
So be like, all right, there's a pound of chicken or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you can see on the internet how many grams of protein you have in your head, I'm sure. Yep. But I could see pretty quickly and easily how many grams of protein is in, say, a pound of ground beef. Okay. And then how about the other stuff? Like, how do you measure a salad? Or,
I mean, if I'm putting the salad together, it's just going to be like lettuce and whatever the vegetables are, and I'll measure all that out.
Do you weigh it, or how do you measure the lettuce? You count it? Like, this seems really
it's like 2 to 3
me.
cups is maybe like 30 calories.
Okay.
It's not really that worried. Like it's not something that I over think about.
Okay.
Like, with vegetables, because vegetables.
Yep.
But like, I'm gonna measure my meat. I'll measure my fats. I'll measure all that stuff.
I see. Okay. Yeah. Wow. That's very detailed.
And there are apps that simplify it too.
Okay. Do you measure what you eat?
I do sometimes.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
What apps do you use?
My something.
MyFitnessPal.
Yeah, I think so.
That doesn't weigh it though. You have to weigh it.
Right.
Yeah.
I usually don't do that.
Yeah. So you just guess.
I guess.
Just wing it. Man, I don't know. That's a lot of stress on me. Like, I would rather just know.
Sure.
Like, so that's the comfort for me is knowing, rather than being like, that's kind of it. Maybe it isn't. I don't know.
Gotcha.
But this is also my job. So,
yeah.
Sure.
No one really wants to, well, apparently they do take advice from people that are overweight, but no one really wants to listen to the dude that's like, 245 and got a big gut.
But that's what's weird though, because that is correct, but somehow that doesn't translate into politics, because like they are overweight.
You can't get rid of them. They're in like long-term Congress and government positions.
But see, that's sort of what's weird about politics and these government positions, and because it's almost like stuff works there that doesn't work in real life.
Yeah, that's not real life.
Yeah.
They don't know what we're doing down here. Like,
yeah.
it's like the ivory tower and then the peons. We're the peons.
Yeah. But most people, I don't know if it's that clear to many people,
Oh, they accept
They accept
their
like
fate,
they're the experts.
Yeah, they accept what's in front of them for truth. People don't want to overthink things. People, I mean, the laziness in our culture has gotten out of control.
Yeah, I agree. What do you think is a important but often overlooked element to flourishing for the modern American male?
I would say, man, there's a couple different things. Like, be around people that inspire you. Like I have a guys group, and those guys, I there's no envy there. It's not. I'm not like, man, I want what that guy has, and they're not like they want what I have. But we enjoy and celebrate each other rather than going against each other. And there's some like pipe hitters in that group. Like, there's some dudes, and like if they're successful, I'm super happy for them. They're happy for everyone else's success. If you have a group of guys that are only willing to lift each other up rather than put each other down, which is what society has been, is just like kind of like keep it under your boot. That's been incredibly important to my mental health, and mental health being something that is for men, we're conditioned to keep it under wraps, not talk about it, and it's incredibly important because like the majority of suicides are men, and no one talks about that stuff. It's starting to come up more now, but like keeping it in is that's just no way to go. So like a good group of men, a good group of people around you that support you and uplift you, take care of your physical health. I mean, if you go to the gym, like that dude on the internet that with the beard and the long hair looks like Thor.
Liver King?
No, not that guy.
Him.
That guy. No, there's this guy who's like, go to the fucking gym. Go to the fucking gym. Go to the gym.
Yeah?
Go to the gym. Yeah, there's a guy on the internet that he's like really famous for that, apparently. I don't know how you get famous for that, but
Yeah.
just go to the gym. Go work out. Don't feel embarrassed that you don't look like everyone else. Just go to the gym. Don't eat fast food. Cook a meal. Like, it's little things that build on each other. You can't just like a lot of people can't just change everything at once. So just do little things. Get yourself in the movement. Find the discipline. Fall back on that because motivation is not going to be there.
Yeah, I think the going to the gym piece is it's hard to overemphasize that because what I've noticed for me is that is absolutely the first domino. It's not what I eat. It's the gym. If I go to the gym, then I eat right. And then a whole lot of other things. I feel better. My mind is clear. Everything seems more right with the world. But I think, like, logically, I would have thought that food would be the primary trigger, but it's not for me. Maybe it is for some people. But if I go to the gym, I will eat better. And if I eat better, that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to be going to the gym. So for me, the central thing is go to the gym 4 days a week. Right now I can't get it on Tuesdays, which sucks. But because 5 days is really what I want to be doing.
Yeah.
But everything else sort of is downstream from that.
I mean, I would think the majority of people would say going to the gym is going to be the first step because that's 1 hour. All right. Eating right is 10 hours. And then you have 12 hours, 13 hours left for sleep and work and relax, maybe ish. I mean, I only sleep like 6 to 7. But
Oh, wow.
yeah,
That's not great.
I mean, it depends.
It works for you, apparently.
There's some science that says, and I don't know if I'm one of these people, but science says that some people just need less.
Yes.
Overall sleep.
Yes, totally. I'm not one of those people.
Yeah.
So if you're getting 6 to 7 hours, what are the hours?
So I go to bed at around 8. When my daughter goes to sleep, I'm out. Like, we're past my bedtime. Just,
Whoa.
that's how
you go to
important
bed
you
at
are.
8 p.m.
But I wake up at 3.
Wow.
So I'm in the gym by 3:30.
Home gym?
No.
You're in Trivium
I
at
go to
3:30.
Trivium, yeah.
Okay. Then
Yeah.
what?
I work out for an hour and a half. There's a couple guys that meet me there. And then...
There's a couple guys that meet you at 3:30 or 4 a.m.
Yeah, man.
What are they doing up that early?
fitness
Just getting
centers.
after it.
I mean, the camaraderie, and you know how it is with a CrossFit gym. Like, there's something about that environment, and people give CrossFit such shit for being a cult, but it's so supportive, and people just want to be around other people that are doing that.
Yes.
Whether it's burpees and suffering, they just want to be like with other people doing it, you know. And when my wife had her accident, like I worked out alone for like 2 years, and working out with people is so much more fun.
Oh yes,
It's way better.
Oh yes,
Than suffering and pushing yourself to dry heave on your own while you're trying to be competitive. Like, you know, I'd rather just be in there with people, you know. So, and these guys are the same way, and they want to work out with me, and I would like to work out with them.
So 3:30 you're in the gym working out. So now it's what, 4:35 a.m.
5 a.m. head home, let the dogs out, feed them, get my kids' food ready, get my food ready, start working. Nutrition plans, content, all that stuff.
Wow. And then what time do you eat lunch?
Midday.
Okay. All right.
Depends.
Then do you cut out by like earlier in the day, like 2 or 3, or do you work
till my wife gets home at 5:30.
Okay.
So I work till about then, or like our nanny will leave at 4:30, and I'll have Cora for that time frame. So
okay.
I'm the primary parent caregiver for Cora. So, you know, I'm Tuesdays and Thursdays I'm usually with her all day, and then Monday, Wednesday, Friday I have her before and after.
Okay.
The nanny.
So. Wow. Very cool. So then I'm curious, what would you consider to be your single most helpful daily habit?
Just waking up early.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
I mean, if I don't wake up early, everything gets pushed back, and it kind of screws with everyone's day.
Sure.
You know, so there's some onus on making sure that I fall back on the discipline. Because like I will tell you, there's some days 3:15 rolls around and I'm like, I really don't want to wake up.
Okay, so you are human. You do feel that some days.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I get my ass out of bed.
Okay.
Yeah. Because like I'm just behind at that point. I don't like being behind. I want to be in front of everything. You know, and I don't want to have to rush back home to get her food ready or her bottle ready or feed the dogs because I decided that I wanted an extra 15 minutes, 30 minutes of sleep, which isn't really good sleep anyway.
Sure.
So I just get my ass up.
What time is the first class at Trivium?
5 a.m.
Okay. Okay. So you're sometimes there when the first class is
I'm
rolling
usually
in
there.
and stretching out and stuff. Yeah. Okay. All right, man. Well, thanks for coming back on the podcast. It was fun. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to talk
A lot
about?
of topics.
Yeah, for
All
sure.
over the
We did
place.
cover a lot.
Is there anything that we didn't cover that you wanted to?
I don't think so. I think we covered most of what I wanted to cover. Yeah. I mean, we could have taken any of those things really and done an entire podcast probably on just on any one of them. So we definitely, skipped around a lot, but no, we covered what I wanted to get into.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. Thanks for being back on the podcast.
Toby,
Really
appreciate
appreciate it. Where can people find you if they're interested in nutrition coaching?
You can go on my website or Instagram. So 27, the numbers 27 Health and Wellness, or 27health.fit is my, they make those now.
27health.fit.
.fit,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So that's a website.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then if anyone wants to join your gym, they can go to CrossFitTrivium.com.
CrossFit Trivium, yeah.
Okay.
Come in, check it out. Our community is fantastic. It's very inclusive.
Cool.
So
Cool. Yeah, I know some people that really enjoyed it there. Jordan being one of them for sure.
yeah, Jordan's a good dude.
All right. Thank you, Jamie.
Absolutely.
Appreciate you being back on again. It was fun.
Appreciate
See
it.
you, everybody.
Try to catch me howling at the moon.